Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Matcha, where we dive into the bittersweet moments of the teenage experience. Just like matcha, both can often be messy and imperfect, but that's what makes them beautiful in the end. With that being said, I'm super excited for today's episode because I have a super special guest with me here today. He is actually one of my mutual friends. We got connected because I was on the Rock the Boat podcast, and I guess he was a fan of my podcast, and it's so funny. This is like the background story. So when I was on Rock the Boat, he saw Raquel, the founder of Rock the Boat, and he's the vice president of Kiwins, which is it's a student-led nonprofit organization, which I'm sure he's gonna have so much more to talk about. But let's welcome Emmy.
Hi everyone, my name is Emmy. I'm currently 16 years old, and I am the vice president for the Kiwins Club at my home school. I'm also the vice president for the sophomore class, and I like to help out a lot with volunteering. That's a big part of who I am as a human and what I do at my school.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. And Emmy's the second sophomore that I've had on the podcast, because usually I have a lot of people who are older than me. So it's really nice to get this like peer-to-peer connection, and I'm super excited for what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, let's get started. So the first question I have is, how did you first get introduced to Kiwins?
So Kiwins is a student-led nonprofit organization, and at Club Rush, there was this big green table with a bunch of people yelling. It was very energetic. It had all of that energy. And then I had gone up to it, and my friend was hosting it, actually. So I was like, hey, like, what is this? She told me about it. She told me about all the volunteer opportunities. There's scholarships involved as well. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to join. And so I had joined my freshman year, and I really got to see what it was as a member instead of like a officer. And it's definitely very different, I think. And I think as a member, you definitely get to experience more in depth of what it really stands for. And as an officer, you can kind of see more of like how to help behind the scenes and stuff.
And you joined Kiwins freshman year, correct?
I joined freshman year, yeah.
And then you became an officer this year?
I became an officer. The term is a little different from our school years. So the term ends around April, March. So I had become an officer in April of last year. So while I was still a freshman.
Oh my gosh, like what was it like jumping into such a big role as a freshman?
I think it was very nerve-wracking. Really nerve-wracking. It was very like a big moment in my life. And it was also a really big moment because I had just prepared for vice president as a sophomore class.
Okay.
And that was also like a really big moment. So I thought it was a lot, but I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah. What made you even consider running for vice president of your class in the first place?
I had considered it because I knew Ella was running for president.
Yeah.
I love you, Ella.
We love you.
And so I wanted to join, and I wanted to be a little bit more involved with the student body. And I also wanted to get my name more out there, more recognition, to kind of like show my values as a person.
Did leadership ever add pressure instead of confidence?
I think it definitely added a lot of pressure, especially during Hoka Week in October. That was really stressful. I can't lie. It was a really hard week. I mean, we were always stressed. I was getting pulled out of class to do work, and we have an 8 period, so we start at 7:30, and it did take a little toll on my physical because I was getting up super early every day and doing all these kind of physical labor, as well as like organizing people to bring the food.
Yeah.
But I feel like the pressure always became worth it at the end.
Yeah, totally. I'm also on student leadership at my school, and like anytime there's a rally or any student-led event, like your student council is working their butts off behind the scenes. So always make sure to be super grateful towards the people who run the behind the scenes of stuff, because it's definitely a lot of work. So okay, let's talk about how we're both sophomores. So what's your take on Sophomore Slump, the infamous Sophomore Slump?
Sophomore slump is definitely real. I definitely felt it a little bit more towards the second quarter, which is like a little bit deeper into sophomore year. Right. I think first quarter was really like mellow. It was kind of chill. And then second quarter just kind of like comes at you and like attacks you because you have to prepare for your finals, and also taking leadership opportunities. Yeah. It also brought this like kind of a burden almost.
Oh, for sure.
And like where you had to have this perfect balance between school and like leadership, and also having an outside life, because that's also really important, especially as a high school student.
Yeah.
So I think that finding that perfect balance is definitely a really key to getting past sophomore slump.
Yeah, so for me, sophomore slump, okay, I wouldn't say it's real in my opinion. I would say it's more like a label that people just put like when you have a lot of academic stress. And I feel like every year comes with a great amount of academic stress. It's just what I think of sophomore slump is that it's the transition from freshman to sophomore year. Because freshman year, like, there wasn't, people don't really take that many hard classes. People aren't like super, super involved. But then you transition into sophomore year, and like, that's when it kind of gets started. That's when it starts to get a little more real, I'd say. Um, and each year you get closer and closer to college apps and going into college. So there's definitely that added pressure each year, and I feel like a lot of people feel that sophomore and junior year specifically. For me personally, my fall, which was I guess for you that'd be quarter one in the fall. So that was like terrible for me because I had varsity volleyball every single day.
Oh yeah.
From like I'd be at school from 8 a.m. to like 9:30 every day. And when I have games, I wouldn't get back home until like 10 o'clock because some of the games would be like really, really far. Also, like this season, we just went super far. Like we won the NCSD 2, so that took us all the way into after like basically at Thanksgiving break. So it was so bad. Like I played every day from July to November, and then I also had my hardest term in my classes. So I had only like honors and AP classes. So it was really bad, but hey, we got through, and that's all that matters. So I think for me a lot of the pressure stems from, I'd say, the whole college culture. Like everyone is so concerned about like what college they get into, and like if they get into an Ivy League or like a top UC school. And like, yeah, getting into a really good college is it's amazing. It's great. I used to have that fear constantly every single day, like since middle school. And it kind of just got to a point where I'm like, wait, I kind of have to like settle down cuz I'm trying my best and that's all that matters, you know? So have you ever had like similar experiences?
I've definitely had similar experiences. I feel like a lot of people really focus on like what school they're going to,
For sure.
what school they plan to go to. And I feel like it is it's also super early. I feel like it's really early for us to be really stressed and hyper focused on what school you're going to go to, and like this isn't 2 other years, guys. I think we have time to give ourselves a little bit of leniency and like to give ourselves that less added pressure to kind of remove that stigma of having to get into a great school and having to be going to do all of these great things. It's just like, I think it just adds unnecessary pressure.
I 100% agree with what you're saying. And honestly, 2 years can be perceived as a little amount of time or a lot of time. I think in terms of like developmentally, a lot can happen in 2 years. Like the person that you're going to be as a sophomore and the feelings that you have are probably going to be completely different senior year. I think a lot of people don't realize that because friendships change, your classes change, and you just go through so much more life. And to not waste, but to consume yourself in school and to consume yourself in all of your activities at such a young age. And again, like this is how I was, which is why I'm like saying this. And I know like everyone may experience their own different things, but personally, I consumed myself with my grades, with my activities, and I thought that, oh, if I get a B on one test, then I'm not gonna get into college, and it just adds. It's just really draining. And at the end of the day, like as high school students, we just want to live life. Like, I think that should be everyone's, well, I don't want to, like, instill this in people, but I think it is really good to, like, have fun, like you're saying, outside of school, and just to live life. So, since you are vice president of multiple clubs, how do you think the expectations changed once people know that you're capable of doing things?
I think people's expectations definitely did change. I definitely saw, like, a different shift, because I feel, especially in leadership, so when people know that you're doing outside leadership, it kind of gives this, like, negative stigma to where it's like, oh, like you're doing other leadership opportunities, was this not enough for you? And I feel that having that balance is like all you really need, and it's not necessarily of what you do for each club and like what you do individually, but it's more of like how you can bring the opportunities from this club and like share it with another club.
So do you think it's very like competitive?
It's definitely competitive. Really? I think it's really competitive, especially this year. I know a lot of people have applied to take on leadership roles, and I feel like that's more of because we are becoming juniors. I think it's becoming a lot of like I need to take this leadership role. I need to be a leader. I need to be doing all of this. Like, as you said about academic stress and like having that college burden on you,
Yeah.
it definitely brings people to do more leadership stuff, which is honestly, it's not a bad thing. But I do think that we shouldn't base our lives around it.
Definitely. And as student leaders ourselves, I feel like we should kind of take this upon ourselves to think, how can we foster an environment that's not competitive and more so collaborative? Like, there were some accreditation people that came to my school a couple weeks ago, and I was like a student ambassador for it. So I was on a panel of about, I think, 8 students. It was like 2 per grade. So 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, so on and so forth. And I think it was like the ending note that I brought up is that what I'm super grateful about, like being a student leader, my style is, I don't want to make it seem like I'm competing with anyone. And I feel like that's something I've always tried to foster a space that's definitely more collaborative, because I feel like when you try to compete with your peers and not embrace your journey together, it just doesn't make high school fun for either of you. And I think that's definitely something that I always try to like not like drill into people, but I try to like present the things I do in that way. Like, I'm always trying to be concerned about like how inclusive I am or how much I talk to people in other grades and all of that. And I don't know. I think humility is a really important thing, especially in high school, because you don't want it to seem like you're just doing things for college or you're just doing things to brag, you know? Do you think you have any similar experiences? Like, what do you think your leadership style is?
I think I definitely, like, as you said, to be very collaborative as a person, to be bringing communities together instead of separating them into
Yes.
groups.
Oh, that's such
I
a good
feel
point.
like, I think that together, especially being like a one school, I think we should all bring like ourselves together and like, let's say for example, like we have 2 leadership clubs at my school and I'm in one of them. We have 2 volunteer clubs at our school. I'm also in one of them. But it doesn't mean that we should hate on each other. We should like have people avoiding to go to both clubs. And instead we can make collaborative events. We can do stuff that we can do together. Cause I feel like having this separated group just kind of causes like bullying and all these other stuff. And it causes like the negative effects of high school.
Definitely. And there's so many like large public high schools that are just super competitive. Like, I've seen like all the TikToks, like, yeah, like all my classmates have like 4.6 GPAs. They're all like nonprofit founders and all of that. And it's just so competitive. And like you said, like when you're in like such a competitive environment, like, yeah, it's good to have competition, because some people will say like that pushes you to be better. Sometimes it just gets really draining. And I think a lot of people don't realize that high school, you also have to have fun. You also have to live life. So that's something that I've definitely been trying to calm myself down and reassure myself about. Because again, like, I used to be so fixated on what I'm doing outside of school, but then I have to like tell myself like I'm more than just my grades. I'm more than just what I do. Like, there's so much more to myself than just one thing that I bring into my identity. You know? Have you ever avoided something because you were scared to fail?
I definitely have. I think it's definitely not my strongest point. I definitely have avoided multiple things that I thought I was too scared or too afraid of to that I could achieve. But I do think that I've seen it as a growing point, especially as like when you were running for a different student council or like into a different leadership position. I think it's definitely good to not have that fear, to kind of overcome it and to not let yourself drag you down, because I think the fear of failure has definitely gotten installed in us at a very young age. And it's just brought in our high school years to kind of this, like, as you said, it's a very competitive place. And it's obviously good to have competition, but I do think that it should be better to collaborate as a team and experience high school as a high school student. And it's also good to experience high school together, like not just individually. Again, like some people, they're friends with the people from high school. Like some of my parents, they bring their friends. My family friends are the people who they've been friends with since high school, and it's really important to like leave with a good feeling, a good like leave high school with a feeling that you accomplished a lot with the people that you love to be around. And if you surround yourself around people who are good people and people who will support you and people who will uplift you, you'll have just, I feel like you'll have a much better time than just being alone all the time and being consumed in solely just grades and sports and extracurriculars and whatnot. Um, but speaking of this whole hustle culture,
Speaking of this whole hustle culture, what's the difference between healthy pressure and toxic pressure?
I think there's it's kind of hard to identify the line between having healthy pressure and having more toxic pressure, because I feel like pressure from, let's say, your parents, it can go either way.
Yeah.
Having pressure from your parents to do better in school, having
Yeah.
pressure from your parents to take on more extracurriculars or be better at a sport. Sometimes it can be good, but then also when we already have so much stuff on our plate,
Yeah.
it's hard to balance both of it. And it's hard to have that, almost that perfect, like, impressing everybody, like trying to be better than someone or trying to prove to someone that you're capable, trying to prove to someone that like you're better than the other person, which is this really, like, I really don't like it because I feel like it brings such a negative stigma to having also friendships within the same community.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, like, you're running against someone for student council, you shouldn't be against that person fully. Like, it's just a competitive. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
It's a competitive race, so I feel like you guys can kind of come together, and you shouldn't be this negative person to each other. And it's also like, I feel like it's a root of a lot of like kind of this, like, being rude to each other,
Yeah.
or like having fights happen a lot.
There's a lot of jealousy.
A very jealous aura that has people surrounded in them, and
Yeah.
people have let it consume them.
Yeah. I feel like I've definitely been very fortunate to be around people who genuinely are happy of my accomplishments. And again, like, I have always tried to be like the biggest supporter of my friends. And just to see like what the competitive culture of high school has done to people's relationships and has done to everyone's overall experience in high school is just really sad. Because it's like, again, like, you don't want to walk away with so much negativity. Like, you want to be happy. But I feel like for me, toxic pressure, I feel like I put the most pressure on myself. Going back to my question earlier, I feel like it's totally me. Like, I've always been the one to push myself to get good grades, to push myself to do well in every volleyball game, to push myself to be a great student or a great leader, you know? And I feel like I just got to a breaking point where I literally, like, cried every single day fall of sophomore year just because I put on so much unadded, unnecessary pressure on myself. And that's why it's so good that we're talking about this, because I don't want anyone to go through what we have went through specifically. So it's really good to have that healthy pressure where you're able to not only push yourself but also give yourself breaks and also be able to bring your experiences to light, like what we're doing right now. I think it's really great to talk about your experiences, to seek for help when you need it. And like, I feel like a lot of people always see their vulnerabilities as weaknesses, but I think vulnerability is something that can bring people together. Like, in my AP World class, we called it like trauma bonding, because we were all like, we weren't competing against each other. Like, it wasn't like, oh, you got an A on your LEQ or you got a perfect score on your MCQ, you know? It was more like, oh, you got an A, like, that's amazing, like, good for you. Like, how can I learn from you, and how can we work together and make sure that everyone has a great time, which I was very fortunate about. And I think, it's just such a important aspect of high school. The next question is, have you ever felt guilty for resting instead of being productive?
Oh, I remember reading this question. I thought about myself, and I was like, I definitely have. I feel like recently, especially after winter break, I definitely have this, like, I had this sort of like mental change to where I kind of prioritized myself over work. And obviously, sometimes it has been really difficult to balance both of them, to balance like my self-care and also to balance being a better vice president. I feel like it's been a lot, and a lot of people are very demanding, like, at the start of the year, because it's also like a fresh start. And so I've definitely felt this kind of toxic pressure after like putting myself first. And it's very much like, I don't understand it, how people can put themselves last instead of like having to put someone else first over your own needs. Like, I've seen people like literally not eat for like days.
Wait, no, that's literally me. Like, I will like take pictures all of lunch and all of snack just to like put it on the Instagram, or just to like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, that's definitely me. But I've been working on it. Like, every time there's a spirit week, I'm always like frantic. That's me. Like, not like on a regular day-to-day basis. It's more like when it's like Halloween and I have to take pictures of like everyone's outfits and stuff.
Sure, like I remember during our spirit week, I had to go around with Ella taking pictures of people, like making sure there was something on Instagram so people could see like how we're actually making the school have a more vibe and have this more like inviting persona. But also, it's really good to find that balance because with clubs as well, it has this like clubs are during lunch, so it gives you no time to eat. It gives you no time to rest between classes, and these people are like working their butts off in class. They're like AP laying, like all these other really advanced classes, just so they don't have a time to eat or take a break for themselves. And I know people like myself included, I'll even do homework during lunch.
Me too.
I'll just like skip lunch, and it's like it's really bad. It's really bad, and I feel like it's also another thing about teachers being able to give us a little bit more leniency towards like extracurriculars and towards all this other extra stuff that we do on top of school. Because as you said, school isn't just one thing, it's a whole like different community.
I love how you're talking about your experiences with school and how during lunch and stuff, a lot of students are, instead of taking care of themselves, they're doing homework or they're being a part of various clubs and they're just not taking proper care of themselves. Because I feel like I fell into that trap too. I think it's this hustle culture and it's normalized. Like you see so many kids across social media just posting about like, oh, like I can never catch a break. Like that was me too. Like when I was going through it, I would like post on my close friends like I am going through it. Like, hey, I can't blame anyone because I do it too. And like, it totally makes sense because when you are so passionate about something, you can't really stop it. You can't really know how to give yourself a break, which I feel like is kind of something that you have to instill within yourself. Because for me personally, I've always been used to I've always been used to being on the clock 24/7. Not even like it would be all day. Like I'd be working, and it was normal for me to not eat lunch, and it was normal for me to stay up till 2 a.m. every night. But then it just gets to a certain point where I would literally cry, not because I was like upset. It's because I was so mentally and physically tired that it made me more emotional, and it just made me more like susceptible to pain. And I feel like that's just such an unhealthy way to do things. School is a building ground for the workforce. When you're working your job, you don't want to kill yourself. You don't want to bend your back over every single day because of your job. Like that's just not how it should be. So I feel like it's good it really is good to experience hardships. It is. And I feel like I wouldn't take any of my hardships back because I've learned so much from it. So for me, it's actually been a lot about embracing the pain and embracing the struggle because that's how you learn, I feel. So yeah, that's just my experiences. Do you relate to that in any way?
I think I definitely relate to that. I've seen firsthand, like how you said, how you would stay up every night. I think I would too. Like recently, I've had I go to school from 7:30 to 3:30. Then I'll have practice at 4. It'll end at 6. I have to get home. I have to shower. I have to study. And it's like there's never time to fully enjoy yourself or like fully like have a break, like sit down, drink a matcha. Like you've never really had time to give yourself a break. People will just put themselves over nothing. I've seen people literally working on like the bus. Like there's people working in like Trader Joe's. And I'm like, you guys are doing work while you're supposed to be shopping for yourself. You're supposed to be like just waiting for your food even. It gives you this like 5-minute break and it's like even then you're still not using it. And it's like it's really bad to normalize overworking yourself and seeing it as being an overachiever. Because people, I think now when you overwork yourself, it's seen more as a positive thing. And it's seen more as like, oh, this person like is doing really well for themselves. But they're really not. If you've actually seen them up close and personal, have talked to them and have had a real and raw personal conversation with them, I can guarantee you they're gonna be like, oh, I'm stressed every single day. I have no sleep. I've been waking up hella early every day. And it's just not healthy for any of us.
That's a great point, because I was actually just going to ask you, do you think being busy and being successful is a flex, or is it just normalized burnout?
I genuinely think it's normalized burnout.
I do too.
The experiences don't overcome all the stress and all the pain that you've endured during them. To say that it's normalized burnout is definitely like a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
Because people have put this as like, oh, like they're just educated. They're just like, they're trying to be smart, or they're trying to put themselves out there. And it's like, sure, they will be trying to do that, but they're also putting it at what cost?
Yes. Oh, such a good point. That is such a good point. There's a lot of high achieving students, and a lot of people who aren't the high achieving students look at them and they're like, oh, that person has probably never failed in their life. That person has probably never experienced a lick of pain in a day of their life, you know? But then you have to zoom in and you have to think, like, these people aren't just handed all of their accomplishments. Like, they put in so much work and so many hours that people don't see. I always say that the people you see on social media who are super successful, like all these celebrities, all these influencers who seem to be living a good, great, amazing life, they've probably gone through so much pain and hardship that got them up to that point. So to say that that person has probably never experienced pain it's not shallow, because everyone makes mistakes and everyone can have misconceptions about people. But it's just safe to say that you really have to slow down and be like, wait, let me try to put myself into the shoes of that person. Because at the end of the day, no one else is going to live your life but yourself. And it's also just hard to not let other people's opinions cloud your own opinion of yourself. When did you realize you needed to check in with yourself mentally?
Late October going into November, I had so much stress from Hoka Week. I had just finished. Literally, I had to plan a whole carnival, but it definitely brought so much stress. I was taking time out of my day to go over there, literally doing extra, doing the most, spending my back over to have these deadlines met. And I feel like after that point, like, I stepped back from the computer, I stepped back from my phone, and I just really like looked at myself and I was like, what do I want out of this? Like, what is this going to gain me? Why am I doing this for someone else? You're bringing yourself down for all of these other people to have like an hour of fun.
That's such a good point, because I feel like I'm always in that position and like I'm always trying to make other people happy, but then I'm like, when is it my turn to be happy? When can I enjoy the moment too? As student leaders specifically, it is so amazing that we are so passionate about having other people experience things. But then at the end of the day, like, we also need to have our own experiences too, and we also need to experience high school and experience homecoming. The time when I realized that I was burning out was literally, like I said, I kid you not, like, I would go into carpool every morning and I would start crying over like the smallest thing. But I wasn't crying because I got to school late or I don't know, I spilt my drink. I was crying because I had so much built up pressure from everything. Like, it just felt like the world was like caving in on me because there were so many things I had to do in such a limited amount of time. And I feel like this is definitely a canon event. Like, so many people go through this same pain and they go through the same struggle where they put so much on their plate to the point where they can't even sleep. Like, I would literally dream about getting bad grades.
Me too.
It was so bad. Like, I'm sure you can relate to that. Like, I remember countless times I would wake up in the middle of the night and just go check my phone and check my grades, because I'm like, oh no, like, did I just get an F on that math test? Like, I got to that point, but thankfully, like, when I started to realize, like, I shouldn't be doing this, I actually took a step away from my work. My volleyball season was ending. I had just had finals, and then I was going into Thanksgiving break, and I've literally never been happier. Like, I remember the feeling of, like, I had work, but I put it aside, and I'm like, maybe I should just have one day where I just don't do any work. And when I did that, I had this realization, like, wow, like, this is what life is actually like beyond school, beyond extracurriculars. And when I started doing that, I started to embed it into my routine. Like, now, when high school volleyball ended, every day, I wouldn't start my homework for like the first hour of getting home, because I'm like, my body needs to take a break in order to be more productive. And I'm so thankful, because I would literally sit crying in some of my teachers' like advisory blocks, or I'd sit in the classroom during lunch because I needed a break from people. And my teachers would be like the biggest supporters of me. Like, they're like, Sophia, like, I challenge you just for one day to just not do any homework. Like, can you believe that? Like, not do homework in a day?
That's crazy.
Like, what? When they told me that, I was like, are you crazy? Like, do you want me to fail? But no, like, they actually care about me. They care about me improving my mental health, because it just got to a point where school was my whole life and doing well in a volleyball game was my whole life. But I think I'm finally starting to break away from that. I literally didn't do homework until Sunday. I've always done homework every single Friday. I wouldn't hang out with my friends so I could do my homework. But this Friday I hung out with my friends, and then yesterday I went to a birthday party, and then today, Sunday, I sat down for like a couple hours to do homework. And it felt great. I turned over a new leaf, guys. Like, I was like, wait, the grass is green, the sky is blue, and like, I know I sound so dramatic right now, and I probably sound really cringe, but honestly, like, people can't be judging, because when you go through so much academic stress and so much added pressure, and you turn over a new leaf, that's like the best moment, and that's when you should be most proud of yourself, because you do not want to be miserable every day.
I started doing what you said. Like, I like put my work aside, and I would just be like, okay, I don't have to do this, but I'm just gonna take a step outside. Like, I started to go on more walks recently, and I'm like,
I love that.
The sun is out, guys. Yes. Like, the sun is out. Yes. The sun is shining. Like, life is good. Like, life is really good if you really look at it from an outside perspective.
Yes.
If you don't look at it from, like, through this paper that you have due in, like, 11:59, like, if you look at it through your window, like, take a step outside, like, it brings a question that's, like, do you really, like, it kind of makes people wonder if they actually want to do their homework.
Yeah.
Which is, like,
so real.
Which is what I felt
That's
like
so real.
this whole time, like, giving myself a break, it definitely made me see, like, how important grades were to me. It was kind of like this realization where I was like, do I really want to do this? Or it's like, am I sure this is going to bring my grade up?
Yeah.
Because sure, like, I'll have a bad grade on one assignment, but is that really going to kill me?
No.
Like, it's not going to kill you. Like, it's just one assignment. It's one assignment throughout literally hundreds a year. And it's like, this one assignment isn't going to change the course of your entire career. It might change, like, your day.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, it's not going to change, like, it's not going to change your lineage. Your lineage is going to stay the same. Like, your fate's going to fall in wherever it needs to. And it's going to be fine.
I think about the things that you're saying every single day. Because, again, like, both of us have gone through super similar experiences being sophomores and having a lot of extracurriculars and whatnot. Like, recently, I've just been so happy, and I'm like, wow, like, again, the sun is shining, like, everything is, like, I'm hanging out with my friends. Everything just seemed to go so well. And then when I had to kind of, like, go back to reality, I'm like, oh, like, I have school and stuff. But then I realized, like, what I'm trying to get better at is I'm not trying to do it just for the grade. I'm trying to do it more so I have an understanding of the concept. And I think, like, when you have that, like, perspective shift, when, like, you're not just doing it to get that A in the class, and you're actually doing it to understand, trust me, I 100% assure you that you will be so much happier. Like, when you actually dive into the content and when you're actually passionate about it. That's why I think people are always like, if you don't think you're gonna do well in an AP class because you're not passionate about it, don't take it. I 100% agree with that. Because I think, like, when you're just trying to rack it up just for the college apps or just to be seemingly smart, you're not going to be happy, and you're doing it just for the grade, and you're not going to have any lessons to talk about or any stories to share, because you're just doing it for the grade. And I don't know if that makes sense. I, like, 100% agree with what Emmy is saying, because my whole world would just, like, flip if I got one bad grade. And then I kind of had this, like, perspective shift where I remember the very first time I didn't cry because I got, like, a C on a test or something. I literally remember that moment so vividly because I was so proud of myself. I was like, wait, this didn't, like, destroy my whole day. Like, I'm still a happy person even though I got one bad grade. Like, who am I? Like, I was like, wow, like, shoot. I didn't know I had this side to me. And then slowly, like, I started getting used to that feeling. Like, I'm not a bad student anyway whatsoever. And having one bad grade doesn't mean you're a bad student. It just means that maybe you didn't understand that one concept. And it's okay to not understand certain concepts. Like, you're not going to be perfect. And being a student who's in a lot of AP and honors courses, I'm around a lot of other students who are also perfectionists. And it's like, when you get told or when you get a grade that shows you're not perfect, it will crush you at first. But again, like, when you start getting used to that feeling of, I can make mistakes, but I'll still succeed in the end. It kind of gives you that, like, level of confidence where you're like, I can take on anything. But now that I'm consumed with myself and I'm working on bettering my relationship with myself and not my relationship with my grades, like, I feel so happy, you know?
That feeling of, like, the grade doesn't define who I am. Mm-hmm. It's definitely, like a break-free moment. It makes you feel just so, like, it makes you so relieved and, like, you feel less pressured to be doing all of this just for, like, 2%.
No, literally. And my teachers are always like, Sophia, like, don't, because I have a retake policy at my school, and like if I get like a B, I'll be like, can I retake it? Like, is my grade gonna like drop because I got a B on one assignment? They're like, Sophia, do not retake it, because if you retake it, your grade is gonna go up 1%. 1%. And then like that really showed me that maybe at some moments I was just chasing the grade. And again, like it's really good to strive to have amazing grades, but when you're putting your grades over yourself, what even is the point to living? Because you're not living your life. You're living it for grades, you know?
Yes.
And
oh my gosh.
it's like it's so valid. I feel like everyone so many people go through that sophomore, junior, senior year, any grade specifically. My mom actually told me, she was like, every time you get a bad grade, celebrate that failure. And I'm like, wait, celebrate it? Like, why should I celebrate it? Like, am I a bad student? Or like, you know? But then I realized like there's so much more to your mistake than just a mistake. I was talking about this in a seminar recently in my psychology class that I'm taking right now. And I was like, when you start to have that reflective side, that introspection, and when you start to realize that your mistake isn't just a mistake, it's something that you can learn from, I have like literally carried that with me ever since. I'm like, if I get a C on something, I'm like, okay, why did I get a C? Like, what can I do better? I don't beat myself up about it. Or if I have a bad game, I ask myself like, what can I do to be better? And I don't think about the negatives as much, you know?
Like, oh, I have A minuses. Like, oh, I don't have A plus. No, you have an A. You have an A, and like you tried really hard for this. Like, look at all those different assignments that you did. You studied for all of this, and it's like you shouldn't bring down something just because of a few points.
Yeah.
Like, just because you don't understand a topic to its full extent doesn't mean that you should bring yourself down for it.
Oh, I love that. I literally love that. And like my geometry teacher was telling me, like, she's like, Sophia, like, it's just a dash. Like it's an A with a dash. Like that's literally all it is. And like it's still an A. And you can't let that little dash dictate the course of your academic career. You can't let that override the amount of hard work that you put in, because I would study till like 1 a.m. for every single geometry test. But that does not mean that dash should again dictate the amount. I can't validate the amount of work that I put in, because I know dang well I put in A plus effort. But I guess content wise, it was what, A minus, and A minus is still amazing. And I know like people would get mad at me because they're like, Sophia, like you have an A minus, like why are you complaining? But it's because I worked so hard for it, and it just felt like the hard work that I put in didn't deserve an A minus. So yeah, I know this could be like controversial to some people, but
It kind of feels like a slap in the face.
yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, oh, like, I tried so hard. I just stayed up, like, 2 a.m. studying for this. One of my history tests, I literally stayed up from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. And I had to wake up at 6 because I leave
That's so
school.
bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. I had stayed up for so long, and I literally got a B on the test. Mind you, I got a B.
Yeah.
And I remember after that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to stay up studying again, because what good did it bring me?
Exactly.
It brought me zero sleep. It brought me all of this stress. I was literally drinking coffee to stay awake.
The Celsiuses.
I was literally on my bed crying, listening to the Marias, just doing my work. And I had this whole study guide. It was like freaking 5 pages long, and it was like 17 different lessons. And it's like trying to cram this all. Oh, cramming is really bad, guys. Cramming, oh my gosh. I'm a victim. But cramming is really bad. I prefer now to just do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think because even if you do cram all of like your studying to one night, like it's still not going to give you the best grade you can get. So it's like, I think it's better off to let yourself get some rest. Definitely. Instead of like having to stay up and study.
Yeah.
I think sleep is definitely better than studying.
No, literally, like I would have friends who like we'd get the same grade, and they prioritize their sleep over getting that good grade. And then I'm like, wait, maybe I should start doing that. And when I actually started sleeping earlier, I literally saw my test scores improve, because I'm like, your brain can't really process and retain everything if you're going to sleep so late every night. And guys, like, trust me, I can say this, because I would stay up till 2 a.m. like every night. And it was so bad. And then I'd play volleyball, and it would be physically and mentally draining, which is why I like broke down so bad every day. And I know like some people were probably like, oh, she's so dramatic, like she's just crying over her grades. Like, guys, no, it is that, but at the same time, like you have to like really sympathize with me, because like I was putting myself through so much unadded pressure every single day. So, but then I realized like sometimes you'll put in so much effort to something and you won't get what you want out of it. That's what my teachers would always tell me. They're like, Sophia, like in life, and I know it could be perceived in like a negative way, like, oh, they're telling you like you're stubborn and whatnot. No, I took it as I took that as a good thing that they're telling me that, because they gave me a reality check to like sometimes I'm not gonna get everything I want, even though I work so hard for it. Because before I'd always be like, I work super hard for everything. I'm gonna get everything I want as long as I work hard. But sometimes that's not always the case. And having that whole like perfectionist side of me telling me that, and having all that like negative voices and negative sounds and thoughts in my head really just clouded my perspective on what it meant to be successful. But now I think like if you are completely happy, you have a great relationship, a great social life, and great friends and all of that, and you have good grades, that's successful to me. Like seeing kids who just beat themselves up over bad grades like I did, and seeing them bend their back over it every single day, and having straight A's compared to that other character that I just described. Like I'd much rather be the person who's more well-rounded, and I consider that successful over just the grades, you know?
I think I'd rather be a straight B student than be a straight A student.
Straight B student who's happy.
Straight B student
Who's happy and tries. Happy and tries. It's one thing to like have pretty good grades and not even try, versus having pretty good grades and studying your butt off. Like, I always talk about this. It's like, because a lot of the time, like these students who tell me like, oh, like you're crying over an A minus, like school isn't really their priority, which is why they're telling me that. But to someone who works their butt off every single day and studies and stays up late, sometimes it is their priority, and it's okay to have different priorities and different goals. Like not everyone's gonna align, you know. So I think that's something that a lot of high schoolers do. So we're getting to our last question, and that's, what would you tell your freshman year self about mental health?
Okay. Ooh, my freshman year self was definitely a stressful person as well, I would say, because they were also kind of starting to get into that leadership role, starting to get into Q&Ns, starting to get deeper into these clubs and different extracurriculars. But I would think I would tell him to take a break, because I think I haven't taken a break in such a long time until this recent like quarter. I haven't taken any time off. Like literally even during breaks, I would be going to events.
No, me too.
I would be doing work. I would be designing something. There was always something to do. And it's like, going back to that one question you asked me where it was, is busy being cool, or is it more of like overworking yourself, glamorized? And I think that I was definitely kind of idolizing having work to do.
Yes.
I was really,
that's a really, really great point, because I'm like the exact same way.
But it's like taking that opportunity and actually doing it is such a different thing than actually holding the title.
It's really easy when you're doing all of these things to fall into the trap of, like you said, romanticizing the amount of work that you put in. And it's I've kind of had a hard time like grappling with this idea that like I'm so much more than my activities, and I would, like you said, like I would idolize having a lot of work, and I would think it's good to be an overachiever, and I would think that it's a flex to be busy all the time. But at the same time, that was at the cost of my happiness.
Yeah.
But now that I'm more happy and that I'm still balancing all of these things, I'm realizing I can be both. It's not one or the other. I can still have a good social life, and I can still be around my family, and while still doing all my activities. Because when you think about it, like there's always going to be things to do in your life. That's inevitable. Like you're always going to have homework to do. You're always going to have to walk your dog, or whatever it is that you may have to do. There's always going to be something. So it's just a matter of how can you embed these different breaks or different hobbies. Like I would tell myself that it's okay to explore and make mistakes. Like that was my biggest thing. Like literally, like I wish I told myself sooner that it is so normal to make mistakes, and that I'm a human. Like I'm only 16 years old. I'm not supposed to have my life figured out. I'm not supposed to make no mistakes. And I don't know like what it was that made me think that like if I make one mistake in my life, my whole life's gonna be over, because that's not the case at all. Like I've made so many mistakes in my life, and I'm sure like everyone has made some type of mistake, but we're still living, and we're still living and growing, and it's just so important to value progress over perfection. Honestly, this episode has been so amazing, and I've had such a great time talking with Emmy about all of this. It felt so great to get all of this off my chest, and I know that I've definitely talked about this in a lot of my episodes, but it was nice to get it from a solely like sophomore to sophomore perspective, which I'm just so happy about. So thank you everyone so much for listening, and yeah, we hope to see you in the next episode. Bye.